Testing, test. Are we live? Testing. Test, testing, test ickles. Oh, welcome everyone to episode 1167 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular swolecast, beardcast, broadcast, gaincast, mancast, pimpcast, sleazecast, and slaycast in the realm. Because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. What is going on, beaches? What's going on, booshes? Thank you so much for being here, and make sure that you sign in, say what's up. I am trying a different method of streaming today, so we'll see how this works. I might have to play around with a couple things because I'm trying to get the live stream locked down, and it looks like it might be a little bit sluggish over here. So we're gonna take our time with today's episode, and I think it might be a little bit delayed. So trying something over here, and I'm not sure if it's working. Looks a little slow. You have sound? How are we looking? Am I choppy? I'm looking at the live chat right now. So Instagram, you're fine. You can join me and just come on in. How are we doing over on, it looks choppy on the computer because I'm streaming, I'm monitoring it, and I'm not sure if I'm picking it up properly. So let me know if you are hearing me okay over on YouTube, if it's choppy, if it's slow, because it looks a little delayed on my end. But if it's good, let me know in the comments if it's good. How we doing, Instagram? So we are live, trying to be live. Oh, there we go. Let me know. I see. Hello, nothing is choppy, sound is good. Really? Nice. So we found something new. What's up, IG? Okay, Facebook is 100% because I'm monitoring on the computer. So those of you that are watching on YouTube, on Facebook, I'm monitoring on the computer, and it's stopping, and it's choppy on the monitoring side. So if it's good, I'm looking at your chat. If you guys say it's good, it's good. And I'm trying to do much better than yesterday, because I apologize, because yesterday, Instagram was fine yesterday. I apologize. Just keep on telling me in the chat, all you over here. So welcome to episode 1167. We're going to talk about locking down that ass. It is hump day, and today is the last day they'll be doing this traveling cast for a hot minute. I'm leaving early, like crack a fucking nutsack, first thing in the fucking morning tomorrow. So tomorrow's podcast, 1168, will be back in this swole hole. And I do want to make some big announcements. I'm not going to tell you exactly who it is, but we got a bunch of guests coming up this week, and someone who a lot of you have been really eager for me to have on the podcast. So we will be bringing her on Monday, and I'll give you more information on that as it comes to fruition, and as we go through, just in case things change or the scheduling changes, I'll be talking more about that. Brand new YouTube video that dropped the other day. If you missed it, but for those of you that are just tuning in, this is 1167. We are live on YouTube, Daily Swole Podcast. Reminder to go and subscribe over on YouTube. That way you can really get the live stream. And those of you that are on Instagram, this is for you watching live. If you are watching live here on Monday, for any of those interview type podcasts, for any of those, you are not going to see it on Instagram. So make sure that you subscribe over on the Daily Swole Podcast channel on YouTube. That way, when I do the one-on-ones and we start bringing more guests on, you don't miss it, and because you're not going to see it on Instagram. Once Instagram allows for me to multi-stream, you'll get that. I'm not sure why they're not allowing that kind of integration, but that's going to be super sweet because I think it's coming. I think it'd be coming probably this year, within the next year. I would hope so. So, some of you in the comments are already sniffing through who it is. So, of who's going to be on Monday. So, some of you already know. Some of you seem to know. No, it's not Brittany Dawn. No, it's not. It's not Brittany Dawn. It's not Brittany Dawn. I don't want her on my podcast. I don't want that filthy beach on my audio, in my ears. Yeah, Michelle McDaniel made a video. I didn't see the whole thing. She made another video about, I guess, the clothing line and that kind of bullshit. But there's always content. There's always content. A lot of you are sending me stuff from Madeline Georgetta. You're sending me more stuff from her and conversations. I'm like, It never ends. Don't you realize? It never ends. It never ends. It never ever ends. Alan posted a video. I got sent this like last week about those different sizes, Infinifat and that over plus size clothing bullshit. Everyone's really pushing the obesity thing. It's happening everywhere. You know, it really is happening everywhere. It's happening right in music videos. It's happening. It's really crossing over, and people are losing track of the fact that obesity kills people. It fucking kills people. Literally kills people. It's not a social thing. It's not about you being a bad person. Those of you that are fat out there, this is not about you being a bad person. This is about people that are obese, that are fucking dying from being obese. They're dying from all these diseases and issues because they're fucking obese. Like how can we not, how are we not picking up on that? How are we not, like, literally, how are we not focusing on that all the time? We're focusing on all these other fucking issues. And there's a lot of issues, but we're focusing on all these other issues and we're forgetting the fact that, oh, when you are, when you're fucking obese, that's like the most preventable thing. That's the most preventable fucking thing that you can, that you can prevent. It's not an issue that you, like, is just coming upon us. Oh, I can't stop the obesity. You can. Stop eating so much fucking food. Stop eating so much food and start exercising more. Make some better choices. You'll be fine. Make some better choices. You'll be fine. You'll be fucking fine. Just make better choices. It's not that complicated, for fuck's sake. It's not. We make it out to be this whole fucking thing. Just start moving more. Those of you that are getting stuck, we'll talk about that as. How many of you are doing leg day today? I can't wait to lift weights. I always get this. I'm talking about all this other stuff. A lot of coffee. Got the Bearcats mug. Any of you Ohio peeps? This is Jeb's mug, of course. Got some good coffee. I got all this old mug over here, the one I used yesterday. I got Ohio State. I got the Bearcats. Can you tell where I am right now? This guy's got all these Ohio schmugs over here. Let's see. Hey mate, just started following you. You are the man. Thank you. Nicholas, I love how people in the fat acceptance movement scream about people being science deniers about climate change, but they deny obesity causes numerous health problems. I think the biggest problem with obesity is the fact that people are literally promoting it. I understand we're in this culture of everyone deserves a chance. Men, women, everyone's pushing every female movie known possible. And it's fine, but I think we're missing the fact, like, it's all, every race is equal. You can pick your gender, all this different stuff. I think what we're losing with all this acceptance is we're losing merit. And drop what you think in the comments below. We're losing merit. We're losing the ability to discern between accepting and being nice and merit of someone's abilities. So I believe people deserve a chance. You know, I believe people should get the opportunities, but why are we losing the fact that if you suck, you suck? Like, if you're not good, you're not good. If you're better, you're better. If people like A, then we like A. We don't want B. Or we like D, we don't want C. It doesn't, like, even if everyone gets an opportunity, it doesn't mean everyone's gonna like everything fucking evenly. Like, why do we have to accept mediocrity? Why do we have to accept terrible shit? Why do we have to accept less than what we deserve? You can have the opportunity, but we still have to reward people on merit, and people are going to like different things. We don't have to be so pro and con, and not everyone deserves a fucking trophy. 8th place fucking trophies. Not everyone deserves that shit. Not everyone deserves that shit. Not everyone deserves a fucking armor. Like, not everyone deserves coddling. People need to be a little bit tougher. We need to go through those hardships, but we need to realize that we have this control. We're not victims. We're not victims to the government. We're not victims to, everyone, like, right, let me use Facebook and Instagram. People complain so much about ads, and they complain so much about privacy issues. It's like, you're complaining, but you're literally being a hypocrite because you're purchasing things and you're utilizing these ads and you're using Amazon, you're doing these things, but then you're complaining about privacy concerns. It's like you're literally letting in cameras and shit into your fucking house, yet we bitch and moan about it, but we do it anyway. We're not acting the same way we're talking. So we want to be accepting, but then we want people to excel and we want to be the best. So you can't be all accepting and give everyone equal outcomes and still have competition and still we need to encourage people to pursue things they're passionate about. We need to pursue health, and we need to stop making excuses for people that do not stop making excuses for people that are not taking the responsibility for whatever their situation is. We complain about shit but then do nothing about it. We complain about being overweight but then we don't change our habits. So we're obese by choice, by fucking choice. We're obese by choice as a country. We're choosing these foods. We're choosing to not exercise. We're choosing to do these things. We're choosing to exercise, or we choose to not exercise. Okay? We choose to exercise or not to exercise. So we make that choice. We are making that choice. If we're choosing to not exercise and to make poor food choices, then guess what that's going to lead to? If we're making that choice, it's going to end like a hot fucking mess. It's going to end with diabetes. It's going to end with heart disease. It's going to end with immobility. It's going to end with this grotesque finality that is preventable. And if it's preventable, then why are we complaining on something that we're bringing upon ourselves? And we're not taking responsibility as a society. So some of you out there are fat, you're obese, you're overweight. You're obese, you're overweight, and you are trying and you're working hard you're doing the best that you can and you're really putting your effort in. Fine. As a society, we have to take responsibility for allowing people to feel like it's okay to waste away. It's okay to kill themselves. We're not being truthful. If someone still wants to do that, if someone still wants to be obese and someone still wants to eat themselves to death, they will always have that chance. They have that opportunity. But we are disguising the fact and lying to people that it's not going to affect them, that it's not a bad thing, and that's dangerous because it gives a lot more people an excuse or an out or a get out of jail free card for just, and it's a burden on the system. So for people that should be taking responsibility and should be told the truth, we're softening the truth. We're just being nice to people. We're just being nice and letting people unknowingly or knowingly and giving them an excuse to kill themselves. I agree with, I don't think that's a hole in my argument. I think that's just a fact. Vivi L, I think a hole in your argument of losing merit is that we've accepted mediocrity for people in power. Those of us from disenfranchised communities have to be exceptional for the same things. Okay, well, there's a lot of opportunity right now. I'm not talking about every single socioeconomic issue. There's too much to dig through. There's too many different variables. I'm talking about the same concept. I'm not talking about that kind of political, and it can go so deep, and I'm not qualified or all knowledgeable at everything, but I'm trying to bring awareness of that kind of issue in context with like fat acceptance and obesity. But it's all tied in, of course. If you are coming from a more, I guess, culture and an area and you don't have the socioeconomic capacity, you're going to be more obese. You're going to have less access to quality foods potentially, but there are supermarkets. Amazon does deliver everywhere. But at the same time, yeah, a lot of people don't have the same starting point. No one does. Even in nice communities, not everyone has the same starting point. And just because you have money doesn't mean you have mental health, doesn't mean that you have strong family. And there's a lot of mess. There's a lot of problems everywhere. So I don't deny that. But, when you have, and it's true, when you have a lower socioeconomic status, you're more likely to be obese. And it goes to even things like food stamps and those types of things, where a lot of the cheaper foods are the ones, because the ones that are subsidized by the government, a lot of those are the ones that the WIC programs pay for. So you're getting junkier foods and you're staying obese. It's a problem. I see a lot of overweight kids. I think a lot of you do. You see a lot of kids. I mean, how often do you see a fat kid, fat parents in the supermarket, and everyone's overweight and they're pushing the cart and they have sodas and chips and garbage and candy, and the whole cart is just filled with garbage. It happens all the time. I see it all the time. I'm sure you do too, especially if you go to places like Walmart. You get some shit. No joke. You get some shit. Let me see here. I was just talking about this today. You choose to allow yourself to get obese without making any changes. I've recently lost 30 pounds and I'm still losing Jen Shark Lover on Instagram. That's awesome. Congratulations. Um, so this conversation is less about, okay, you grew up in a poor neighborhood, you didn't have a lot of opportunities or the same opportunity. Like, I'm not talking about that. That's true. A lot of people deal with that. What I'm talking about is that obesity is preventable. That's the point. And like when you have a culture, when you have like in the music videos, what's that Miley Cyrus thing that was going down? She had some obese person like glorified in her video, and these are just. It's not that no one's ever glorified obesity before. I mean, obesity is really common. Like it crosses over with comedy. Remember Chris Farley and stuff. You know, the big fat comic, and of course he died from drug overdose and stuff like that. But when when you have this social acceptance from like a beauty standpoint, look, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It's subjective. It's subjective. So if I say something's beautiful, whether it's thin, fat, whether it's this cup, maybe I'm like, look, this coffee cup is beautiful. And you're like, I don't think it's beautiful. And I say, I think it's beautiful. You're like, I disagree. Okay, so we agree to disagree. I think it's beautiful. You don't think it's beautiful. What does that mean? Like, what does that mean? Does that mean anything? No, it's just, it's an opinion. It's an opinion. I think it's beautiful. You don't think it's beautiful. It's like, okay, fine. Like, that's not what this conversation, but that's what the social justice warriors, that's what they make it. They make it about, oh, well, this is like they're right, that's beautiful. That's an opinion. That's separate from the health. That's separate from health. You're going to have major issues because you are your visual beauty cues, whatever you're considering beautiful, that is a health risk. It's not negotiable. We're not debating it. It's a fucking health risk. Whether or not I think this cup is beautiful, this is not a health risk. This is not going to give me diabetes. I mean, if I fill it with garbage, yeah, but this is, you know what I'm saying? If you're obese, that's a health risk. Whether or not you think this cup is beautiful ain't a health risk. Okay? And there's no such thing as healthy at every size. You see the videos I'm posting about these emaciated nutritionists, these girls who have eating disorders. You're not healthy at that very low weight. You're not healthy when you're morbidly obese. Can't we? You can see that visually. It's natural for the human eye to pick up on that discrepancy just by looking. It looks strange when you see someone that's sickly thin. You notice that it stands out because we're humans. We notice, oh, that doesn't look safe. That doesn't look healthy. It doesn't look good. And then we notice that too from an obese standpoint. Like, oh, that person does not look well. Why do you have this instinctual feeling inside that that person does not look well? Because they don't look well. It's evolution. We're trained. We're trained like in our DNA. It's not even training. It's just built within us to sense danger and to know when something looks off. We're constantly assessing our environment. When something's off, when the situation's a little bit, hey, that doesn't look right, whether it's a person or a personality, we just kind of get that feeling inside. We look at someone, okay, that doesn't look good. That doesn't look healthy. That doesn't look like a good situation. Beauty is an opinion, health is a fact. I agree. And then we have mental health, we have physical health. There's a lot of different issues with this situation. We're going to talk about today's episode was about what, focusing, locking down that ass because it's hump day. So let's switch gears for a little bit because we can there's always rant and there's always rage. I'm sure there's gonna be something else that comes up in the next fucking couple days that will be this it'll be the same problem. Something else is gonna come up. Something else will come up with this whole situation. So whether or not we finish this conversation won't be done for a while. People are going to be obese for a long time, and the people that are obese are going to have some major fucking issues. So we'll be talking about that for the next 30 years, I'm sure. But let's talk about legs. Let's talk about, I've been getting a lot of questions about glute activation and what that means. And because today is hump day, I wanted to make sure that because mobility is such an important aspect of what we do here and what we do inside Swolenormous X, let's talk about the reason why the glutes are so important. Why have glutes become like this catchphrase? Why have glutes become this thing that we talk about? And oh, glutes. Everyone just says glutes, but not a lot of people understand why glutes and why the glutes are important. So let's start with the fact that they are in the center of the body. So you have the center, the core of the body, which is the cervical spine to the pelvis. So you have the base of the spine. That's pretty much the foundation of your building. Now, the appendages, the arms and the legs, come off from that center point of the body. That come off from the glutes, the legs, right, the femur, and then you also have the arms coming off from the upper part of the back, the thoracic region. So the base of your pyramid, the base of your building, the base of your core, that's going to be an extremely important part, and the alignment and the balance in that area. So you have different angles or different parts of the joint, the front, the back, the inside, the outside, that create balance. And there's different muscles, different lengths, different strengths, different abilities, different places of contact where they touch. So you're gonna have different ranges of motion around different parts of the joints, whether it's the shoulders or the hips, both ball and socket joints. So you're gonna have different abilities to move. Your leg will naturally go only so far to the side, abduction, adduction in, internal, external rotation. You have limitations, but you have the way your body is designed to move. And most of us aren't able to go into the full range because we have what's known as compensations. And if you've ever gotten injured, if you do anything repeated over and over again, whether you're sitting down a lot, whether you're texting a lot, you're hunched over, you're in a chair, you're at a desk, wherever you're doing every day, whether it's lifting, whether it's sitting, either active or not active or inactive, you're doing something over and over again. You're doing something repetitive. You're just repeating over and over and over again. Any type of repetitive movement, again, whether it's repetitive movement or repetitive lack of movement, you are going to get muscle imbalances. You're going to get certain muscles that adapt to that new length, certain muscles that adapt to that new strength and new tension, and other muscles that kind of get forgotten by the brain. So we have this thing called coordination. You know this when you rode a bike the first time, you're flopping all over, and then eventually you kind of got that balance. All your body did was learn which muscles to contract. It learned equilibrium. It learned how to use the muscles and to fire them properly so you didn't fall off on the bike. That's the same thing with exercise, and that's the same thing with compensations. When you don't use muscles regularly, whether you're sitting down a lot, so you're not using your glutes a lot, whether you're lifting stuff overhead, you're stocking shelves all the time, whatever you're doing on a regular basis, your body will tend to forget other muscles that aren't integrated well with that movement. So they get forgotten, kind of like left behind. I've used this example before. It's like your brain forgets the phone number of the muscle. So for example, when you're sitting down, let's just jump right in and just explain this, how this concept works with the glutes. When you're sitting down, whether you're in a chair, a desk, your glutes are in a stretched position. So when your glutes are stretched, when the muscle is stretched, overly stretched from its resting length, stretched, and when there's pressure, when you're sitting on that, it creates this kind of like inhibition in the muscle, in the neuromuscular communication. It essentially kind of deactivates the muscle, where the brain, because of the pressure, because of the stretched position, because of the lack of use and the lack of contraction and release and contraction, the lack of action in that muscle, the brain just stops being able to integrate the glutes as well in macro movements like a squat, like a lunge. So because you're so often in that stretched and in that deactivated, lengthened, inhibited position, when you go to do a lunge, when you go to do a squat, your glutes are not playing the role they should be. They're kind of like on vacation. They've been forgotten a little bit. So they don't extend as much. They don't trigger as much during a squat. You tend to use your hamstrings more, your quads, your lower back might start bothering you. You get an anterior pelvic tilt, and all these little adjustments and things that can happen from having deactivated glutes, from having that kind of imbalance. So that being said, how do we turn that back on? How do we turn this train around? How do we fix this? We fix this by doing isolated exercises. Isolated exercise, we start focusing on glute training. So you've seen my videos and you've seen some of my content about lateral tube walking. I have some of these exercises on my blog on swolenormousx.com. We have these movements that can target different areas of the glutes specifically. So instead of doing a squat or a lunge or a multi-joint movement that will integrate a lot of different muscles in which the glutes are already being forgotten, we start to do these exercises that really just target as much as we can, specifically the gluteus medius, the gluteus maximus, and so forth. So that being our goal. That being our goal, if we are focusing on activation, we're focusing on yoga, we're focusing on doing things that are providing mobility, providing more balance in the joints, providing more stimulation, we are able to bring those muscles back into the fold. We're able to wake the glutes up and reintegrate them with those larger movements like a squat, like a lunge, like a deadlift, and bring those back. Because if your glutes are not activating properly, even if you are doing a squat or a lunge, they're not going to be a glute oriented exercise. So some people do squats and they're like, oh, it doesn't work my glutes that much. Well, your glutes are probably not firing properly. It's also not supposed to just be a glute exercise. When you're doing a squat, it's a total body exercise. A squat is a total body exercise. You're putting the bar on your fucking back, whether it's a front squat or a back squat. You're using your upper body and your entire structure like big time. You're loading your spine. Spinal loading is brutal. It's a total body workout. Anyone that does heavy squats, when you pack that bar in, if you're doing like a low or high bar squat, especially a low bar squat, like you're getting your whole upper body really locked in place. You need everything together. You need everything on point. You need everything integrated for that type of a lift. So we talk about squats being a leg day exercise, like it's legs, but come on, when you're doing squats, that's why if your back is sore and your chest is sore and your shoulders are sore and then you're doing legs and you're training and doing weights too often and you're doing too much volume, it's going to affect your leg training. Like you have to focus on the right moves to get the most out of your training. So it's not about doing 10 or 15 or 20 different exercises. It's about what exercise you're doing. Focusing on the basics works. You're doing your glute isolation, doing your heavy hip bridges, you're doing single leg squats, your RDLs, you're doing the lateral tube walking, kind of like band activation exercises, stabilization exercises. Those of you that are in Swolenormous X, you know about the awareness workouts, and we talked about it in the poll that I posted, the glute awareness program that's coming out. But you do all these things in order to make sure, essentially, it's like rehabilitation before you need rehabilitation, before you need rehab. When you get injured, you're usually trying to teach and turn certain muscles back on so your body doesn't move differently. Because if your body starts moving differently, you start compensating one side to the next, you can get an overuse injury that way. That's why people that usually have an ankle injury or a shoulder injury, the other side starts hurting, the other knee starts hurting, or, because you start getting inflammation from limping too much and from not tracking through your hips enough. And there's all these different chain reactions. So how do we minimize that? We minimize that by focusing on mobility and on isolation, activation as much as we can before we get hurt. It's part of our warm-up. It's part of our programming. It's part of what turns these muscles on. So when we do our strength training days, we have all the muscles playing their role and activated. And that's what's important about glute activation. The strength of the muscles, the length of the muscles, having the body with proper posture going into lifting, like it helps us through everything. Your body needs alignment. Your body needs to have things balanced. Your body needs to be aligned. And it's a very simple concept, but it's very important. And most people don't realize this until it's too late. You realize it when you have an ACL tear. You realize it when you hurt your back. And if you wait too long, you're going to be coming back from a major injury. And if you can prevent that, just like obesity, if you could prevent an injury, why wouldn't you want to prevent an injury? Why wouldn't you want to prevent an injury? I'm waiting. Why would you not want to prevent an injury? It really is exceptionally mind-blowing how people don't take advantage of being healthy and staying healthy. Oh, I'm healthy. Let me just crush shit until something fucking breaks. Eventually, you start breaking shit that can't be repaired well. And science and modern medicine can't fix all the issues. That's why you got to be addressing your mobility and your active recovery before you get hurt. Don't wait. Don't wait for that shit, because you're going to fucking get hurt and you are you're going to lose your progress. You're going to lose moving forward. One of the biggest things that sets people back is getting fucking injured. That's one of the biggest things that sets people back from making progress, is getting hurt. It doesn't mean you can't train hard, but you'd be shocked. You'd be shocked how many people don't pay attention and don't address the imbalances and the shortcomings that they currently have and walk almost willingly into an injury. And you walk into that, and then guess what? You're not lifting heavy. You're not doing yoga the way you were, or you're discouraged and you start gaining fat, or it's harder to manage. It's once you're in the game and you're fucking amped up, it's staying healthy. It's great to build muscle. It's great to build muscle. It's great to train hard. It really is. It's great to build muscle. It's great to train hard. It's great to push yourself. It's great to be like, yeah, fuck it, I'm going to hit new PRs and records. It's great. It's a wonderful fucking thing. I promise you, I get it. It's wonderful. Wonderful. However, when you get hurt, like, what's the point? What's the point? Are you competing? Are you competing to lift more than the next person or lift more than yourself? Why? At a certain point, what is the point? There comes a point where it's just the diminishing returns. It's just not a good look. It's not a good move. It's not necessary. How we doing? How we doing on the stream? Anyway, so yeah, get a little fluctuation with the connection a little bit. Are we still doing good? It still shows we're connected. So drop some comments below. What do you let's see what's going on here. Let's see what do you guys think? What do you guys think? What do you do for recovery? Are you paying attention to your active recovery? Glute activation, locking down that ass, like focusing on these types of things. And interestingly enough, and wonderfully enough, if you're focusing on glute activation, like building your glutes and training glutes hard, you can get a bigger butt. Most of you want a bigger butt. It's going to help you with your balance. It's going to help you with your strength. It's going to help you with your compound movements. Like, it's good shit. Oh, just delayed a second. Little delay. That's all right. Delays are good, but it's still coming through. You still hear me okay? It's looking good on my end. Nothing's changed on my end. Agreed, the world's strongest man just destroyed his back. Is that true? Fuck. People just think they are stronger than they really are. That's true. People also forget how much stronger they used to be. I remember what I used to lift. I go to the gym now and I'm like, man, I used to be lifting. I remember what I used to lift. And I just think about, man, that's so fucking heavy. I see people on Instagram and YouTube lifting. I'm like, oh my God, how the fuck is he lifting that much weight? How do you like, it hurts me to watch people squat heavy. Even when I see people squatting 3, 4, 5 plates, I'm like, fuck. Like, I can do it. I can squat heavy, but not as heavy as some of these fucking people. I just don't train that heavy anymore. I don't train that way for strength. Mine's about muscle development and maintenance and mobility. I just have more of a long-term focus. Like, I've never had a major, I've always managed my health well with like injuries and stuff like that. I've always managed that aspect. Luckily, unfortunately for me, I've always been a stickler for form. And I didn't always practice yoga, but I've always been a stickler for form over everything. So I've had my issues in the gym. I mean, you train, you lift, and you overload your body for 20 years, you're gonna have tendonitis. You got things that come up, but I've never had major injuries, knock on wood. But I address these things when I feel really stiff, like coming back from a trip. Okay, so yesterday we did a hot yoga. We did like a hips and hamstrings class, and it was great. It was a great class. So I practice yoga, and I'm investing, and I'm doing this for me. I'm going to be doing a lot more yoga, and I'm doing a lot more going to classes myself, because I do the classes inside Swole Enormous X, but my own personal practice too. Like, I'm going to be investing and doubling down on my own personal mobility, because when you first off, when you come back from a trip, what do people do? They want to go back into the gym and crush the gym. For me, I want to make sure my body is mobilized, because sitting on a plane, that kind of stress, dehydrated. Usually, if you're drinking a lot of water, I tend not to drink as much, or I try to time it out, because I don't want to get up and go pee and fucking go through all that shit on a plane. So, and it throws you off. You're not sleeping as well. Your sleep schedule's off. Just your whole flow is off. And it takes a lot more out of people than a lot of people realize. Some people just jump right into the routine that they already had, and it's a great way to get hurt. It honestly is. And for me, when your whole career, everything is around fitness, like, can I get hurt? Sure, but I don't want to get hurt. If I can prevent an injury, that's paramount to me. I just know from watching people, if you're an injured, that's one of the quickest ways to not be consistent. If you want results, it's about consistency. It's not about crushing it every fucking day. It's about making sure that you're healthy enough to crush it every day. Doesn't mean you have to crush it. And some people see that as, oh, I'm going to fucking destroy it because I'm healthy and I'm not in a fucking coffin bleeding, that I'm going to crush and do a hard ass workout today. It doesn't have to, but they feel like it's all the time. They don't slow down. They just keep on banging, 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 banging. It's going to catch up, I'm telling you. My 18-year-old son squats 405 pounds for 8. Does he really? That's a fucking shit ton of weight for 8 repetitions at 18. Like, good form? He has got to be doing long-term damage. I couldn't speak on that. I know a lot of kids are fucking lifting heavy young. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, it's not, if he has good form, and he's progressing, he's actually doing it properly, it sounds like he could be a fucking weightlifting champion if he's doing 8 reps for 405. I've never done that for squats. I don't know if he's doing, I mean, long-term damage, says who? Maybe, maybe not. But he's definitely not done growing. I mean, maybe he is now with that kind of like overload. But people still grow into their 20s. I don't know. I don't know if we really have all the answers and have all the long-term. We don't have that yet. Fitness has never been this popular. As much as people are obese more than ever, we've never had this much popularity with fitness. So we don't really know what the long-term effects of lifting heavy when you're in your teens, but we will. This Instagram generation, the kids that are 19, 20-year-old now, like, we'll know, but like maybe in 50 years. So maybe in 2070 we'll know, like, oh, this was not a good idea. But maybe by then you could just snap your fingers and Amazon would deliver like a new hip. It'll just come in the mail and you just have like this robot do surgery in your living room. By then we're all gonna be in a virtual world, and if you want abs, all you gotta do is level up. You just pay like $50 and you can have abs in your virtual avatar. So you won't even need to train anymore. Yeah, let's see. When you have tendonitis flare, do you wait till it's gone to get back into the weights? Obviously, you're going to do recovery mobility work in that time. A tendonitis flare depends on what it is. Tendonitis is not, it depends on where it is and what the cause is. So you can get tendonitis from like impact injury. You can hit something, it's inflammation of the tendon. So it depends. Like if you have, elbow tendonitis, you need to be balancing out and strengthening usually your wrist extensors. But that's, if you have tendonitis in your knee, what kind of you have jumper's knee, you have runner's knee, it depends. It's usually a glute imbalance, but it depends. A jacked grandpa. Yeah, jacked grandpa. Did you guys see that post on Instagram? I think we're going to do a contest for Grandpapa Swole. The filters that ages you. People have been sending me pictures from all my Instagram pictures. They've been putting that old age filter. I look like fucking Santa Claus. I look like Swole to Claus. I look like a jacked Kris Kringle, like my beard, and they have like the white hair and like kind of like the yellow orange beard, like the aged beard. Fuck. I look like Santa Claus. I might have to change my look as I get older. Isn't that fucking funny? God damn it. I look like fucking Santa Claus. I literally look like Santa Claus. I look like Kris fucking Kringle. Send them to me. If you guys want to do more of those, send them to me. I'll post them. I think it's funny as shit. It just goes to show how like this deep fake stuff is going. Like we're in for some crazy shit. Let's see. Barmy B. I just went to the Gymshark Train Instagram page for the first time. Jesus Christ, that page is everything wrong with fitness. Yeah, they're not even hiding it. They bring everyone on. All the Gymshark athletes are fucking juicing out of their mind. Hardcore sauce, and they don't even address it, and they know that they're influencing a lot of people. The Gymshark shit, they are fucking juicing hard, and they don't even address it. They don't even address it. All these IFBB pros and all that stuff. Anyway, but I look like Grandpa. I look like Santa Claus. Hardcore. I look like Santa Claus. Hardcore. So amazing. All right, so let's see here. Yeah, we have extra lives in the virtual world. Yeah, we do. So just a reminder, any opinion of the book? It's Mike. I generally don't. Grain Brain. It's an interesting book. That's the one that they discuss, Alzheimer's being type 3 diabetes, right? I don't really have gluten in my diet. I don't. I just don't really have a lot of interest in it. I just, since I stopped eating breads, and I don't go for beans. I don't, all these things that give you like, why does it give you gas? It probably gives you gas for a fucking reason. There are certain things that just I feel react better inside my body. I just feel better when I eat certain foods, so I gravitate toward those. That's why I always say do an elimination. Do an elimination. Do an elimination diet. Like, just do it. Figure it out. Do it and see what works best for you. There's nothing wrong with determining what works best for your body. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. We have this fucking idea like we have to fall within this framework. We have to fall within this framework. If we don't fall within this framework, we're not on a diet. We're not doing paleo. We're not doing keto. It's like, why can't you? You have to customize it a little bit. Customize it for yourself. I can just. You don't have to do it exactly the way I do. You don't have to do it the way some fucking Instagram jabroni does. Yeah, Wheat Belly. These are good. These are good books. I. One of the things that's a great topic. It's not. I don't think it's so much. Forget about the gluten sensitivity, the celiacs, the issue with grains, and the inflammatory. I don't feel that there are negatives to cutting it out. This is one of the biggest things. This is one of the biggest things. What's the negative to cutting out breads? What's the negative? Oh, but I'm used to eating bread. That's not a good reason. There are more reasons to cut it out than to consume it. There are better reasons, there are more pros to cut out bread than to consume bread. Would you agree with that? There are more reasons and more benefits to be had by cutting it out than consuming it. Empty calories in many cases. A lot of people have digestion issues with it. There are better carbohydrates. There are better carbohydrates. Consume white rice after workouts. Have fruits. Have fibrous vegetables. Eat sweet potatoes. Oprah. What does Oprah have to say? Yeah. You want to go. You want to fucking fall off the deep end. Go to Oprah for fucking diet advice. What is this? 92? Get the fuck out of here. Killed 3 pounds of Sweet Pete's and it's only Wednesday. Now I gotta hit the market for another 3-pound bag. Sweet Pete Life. Is 12 grain bread good? I would not recommend it to anyone. Look, if you want to eat bread, I might be your Papa Swole, but I ain't your real Papa. Like, you're a grown ass adult. You can fucking do what you want. I'm not here creating a war on bread. If you want to eat it, that's fine. I'm just telling you that I don't, and I'm telling you why I don't. I just find more benefit by not doing it. And a lot of people find the same thing. So if you've never tried cutting it out and swapping it out for other types of real food, less processed foods, why not just try it? Why don't take my fucking word for it? Try it. Don't take my word for it. You can make almond bread. You can make it with almond flour. You can make it other ways and still consume similar textures if you just can't fucking handle it. If you do need to have bread, but here's the thing: you don't need bread. You don't need it. You don't need it. I think that's the biggest thing, is you don't need it. Like, true or false, do you need bread? No, you don't. So that being said, if you don't need bread, if you don't need it, then why not try going without it? Yo, whatever happened with Brittany Dawn? Go on YouTube and watch my videos. I've literally made videos about her recently. If you haven't watched those, obviously you haven't, go check it out. Genuinely curious, and do a search. Bread bloats me. It bloats a lot of fucking people. And it's not about celiac, it's about gluten sensitivity. What's the substitute for breads? Sweet potatoes, a fucking carbohydrate from the gods. How do I feel about fasted weight training? It's generally not for me. Sometimes if I train really early, you can. That's preference. Cut out all bread and carbonation. That'll make a huge difference. More people are going to find that they benefit from not eating bread than actually that they benefit from eating it. People are just in denial because everything garbage is made with fucking bread and dough and pizza and carbohydrates and chips and fucking donuts. Everything's made with sugar and grains and flour. Everyone's just obsessed. And a lot of people have headaches from grains. Oh, there we go, Jennifer. 100% if I eat grains, I get headaches. My family will spend some time in the restroom. It's not good here. We are working on milk and ice cream and cheese now. Bread is like adults who say, I need to drink milk. No one needs to drink milk. No one. Look, what the elimination diet is, everyone's like, oh, is it safe to do an elimination? Yes, it's safe to not consume high processed sugar. Yes, it's safe to not consume bread. Yes, it's safe to not drink milk. That's like what the elimination diet is. You have a lot of foods that are commonly causing tons of people issues. Commonly cause issues. So let's see if they cause an issue for you. You cut them out and you see how your body reacts after you cut them out for 2 months, and then you add them back in one at a time and you observe. And when it fucks you up, you realize, holy shit, my whole life I've been eating this. My body doesn't like it. And maybe that's why I'm bloated, can't lose weight. I feel sluggish. My joints hurt. I have migraines. Like all these things can get eliminated. I know so many people, some of you are in Swolenormous X. A lot of people in Swolenormous X have got rid of these things and changed their entire life. No migraines, no more issues from this kind of shit. That's a game changer. If you get chronic migraines and you cut this shit out and it goes away, changes your life. Just start elimination of bread and gluten day 3. Sister is intolerant, so I'm interested in how it goes. That could be a sign that you might be too. Yeah, of all things, gluten sends me into coughing fits. I'll never give up milk. All right, you can drink milk. If you've never tried eliminating it, that's your shortcoming. You'll never give up milk. That's a stupid thing to say if you've never tried getting rid of it. However, if you did, but there are better ways to consume milk products than just buying pasteurized garbage over the counter. Oh, she's watching? Yeah, that's not true. My wife says that our kids need milk for calcium. It's like isn't it? It's a very poor form of calcium. Vegetables. Give them some fucking broccoli. They're far better. Milk also and dairy products can cause asthma in children. A lot of people have issues with asthma and stuff. I eat the same thing as my family for a week. Can't remember feeling that terrible in a long time. Well, everyone has their own... The point of all this, in closing, the point of all this is when you are trying this out yourself and you're testing this stuff out yourself, you can figure out what works best for you. In other words, don't take my word for it and don't take someone else's word for it. Don't just, oh, I read this book or I did this. What I'm telling you is you have the power and the ability to actually apply this yourself. You have the ability to actually apply this and to try it and to, oh, that's why. Oh, that's what he means. Oh, I tried this and it did work. Oh, I tried this and it doesn't work. Oh, I did this and I felt like shit. Oh, I did this and I felt great. That's what you have the ability to do. And a lot of people feel like they're just trapped and they don't have a choice. So you have a fucking choice. Kids do need fat. Kids can eat fucking grass, like animal fats. Yeah, need fat. Doesn't mean you need milk. Kids need fat. That's why they have breast milk. And then when they can eat real food, they eat real fucking food. Cow's milk can actually pull the calcium out of your bones. Mike, honestly, I cut wheat out today and have had nearly no gas and it was bad. There you go. So keep it out for a while and see how it goes. Also with dairy too. You're the one that said you won't cut out milk. Something to think about, bro. In closing, you missed the whole damn thing. Well, turn those notifications on, send. Turn them notifications on. How we doing over on Facebook and YouTube? Did we hit the winner with this way of streaming? Did we do it? Did I do it good? Did we do it good? Did we make it? Seems like we made it all right. So it seems like this is going to be the standard now. We'll do it this way. I'll do it. Thoughts on raw milk? I haven't had access to it really, so I've never really implemented that long term, so I couldn't really say. Smooth as butter. Ooh, grass-fed butter. Smooth as butter. I like that. Drinking coffee can cause AIDS. Can cause AIDS? Is that the newest study? Newest study, fam. Coffee causes AIDS. Then I have full-blown fucking rampant AIDS, apparently, because... Hold on. And that was the old cup. That was old AIDS. This is new AIDS. Ooh. Tastes positive. How could I go about talking to my nephew about losing weight, whom is 14 years old and a weight of probably 260? Jesus Christ. Your nephew who's 14? Talk to their fucking parents. Jesus. Because that kid, how do you talk to that kid about it? Fuck. That's the worst time. Puberty, that's the worst time to be overweight. Like he's gonna be in a struggle for the rest of his life if he doesn't take care of that shit. Cincinnati born and raised, what up? Yeah, that's a tough one. There's a whole family dynamic there, so I couldn't really speak on that. Just because there's a lot of other stuff. I mean, the parents are. If he's 14, he doesn't have a job. He's not feeding himself. That's a fucking tough one. 14 years old. 14. God damn. What brand and type of coffee do I drink? I don't know what kind this is. Um, I'll have Pete's coffee or sometimes like or organic blends. I don't like to spend a lot of money on coffee. A lot of these like online brands are just super expensive. It's like, eh. But I do have I'm trying different kinds. There's a lot of different good coffees out there. But you want to get clean coffee. You don't want to just get like some generic. I like to grind it myself. I make French press. Papa do a cookbook. We got the recipes inside the kitchen, inside Soulnormous X. Great stream, thank you. Hello. That's a good. Let's put that in the comments. What would you? How? That's on Instagram. Do I drink it black? Either that or bulletproof. Make him watch. Ooh, that's a good one. You can make your 14-year-old nephew. Let's get some comments down below. What do you think she should do with her 14-year-old nephew? Because if you're 14, you're not working, you're not making your own money. So someone's feeding you. So your nephew, your brother, or your sister needs to fucking get this kid and lock that down. It's really not your responsibility. However, you can show them. You can make them watch 600-Pound Life. That's a good one. Tell that 14-year-old that chicks don't dig fat dudes. See, that's not politically correct, but it's actually probably true. Look, let's turn the table both ways. You say like chicks don't dig fat dudes. Some do. You say, well, guys don't like fat women. Some do. So it's the same thing. Generally, the human body or the human like attraction. Look, what does attraction mean? What does attraction mean? Attraction means you're looking at someone and your body from a DNA, from an evolutionary standpoint, your body is like, is this person a viable mate? Should I mate with this person? And if someone's unhealthy, the reason why you're not attracted to them is also because you're like, well, they don't look healthy. They don't look like they're healthy to reproduce. Like that's a layer, that's a component of attraction, is whether or not you're going to be able to mate with this person. We're animals. It's not fucking think we're all high and mighty. Everything revolves around sex and making more of us. That's why we're a plague upon this earth in many ways, right? So it's not a lie. Most people don't want someone who's overweight. That's actually a fucking fact that's just not socially acceptable to talk about in that way, but it's true. Show him Papa. Yeah, look at that. And introduce him to Papa Swole. Have him fucking watch the podcast. We'll get his vocabulary up to fucking speed. The parents need a reality check. A lot of those parents are in denial about their kids being super overweight. That's the hard part, getting them to see the health problems down the road. No one wants to. Not to mention, it's like when you look in the mirror every day, you don't notice those small incremental changes, but when you're a parent, your child, you might not notice the fact that they're hugely overweight because you're used to seeing them every day. And they kind of like grow like, pound by pound by pound by pound. And eventually they're a little round. You're like, oh, they're a little bit bigger. And you didn't see them like from thin to fat. Someone who hasn't seen the child in a while, oh my God, look at this, super overweight. So, it depends on its context and its perception. But we got to get into this. We got to get into this more. This is something that's that's preventable, but it's a real problem because it starts with the parents. It starts with the parents. The parents are buying the food. This kid doesn't have a job. And if they do, they're not buying and cooking their food. So, yeah, that's a conversation you need to have with the parents because they're the ones that are in control, and they're the ones that are saying they're the ones that are setting this kid up for fucking disaster. But we'll continue this conversation tomorrow. Just a reminder, everyone, tomorrow we'll be back in the Swole hole. So I hope this stream was fire. I think it was great. I think it worked out. We got some guests coming up this week for the podcast. So make sure if you're watching on Instagram, wherever you're watching, make sure you subscribe to the Daily Swole podcast channel on YouTube. That way, when we do the interviews, we do the split screens and the back and forth, that you're not going to miss it. So got some big guests coming up, and it's going to be exciting because a lot of you have been asking for specific people to bring on. So there will be more of a lot of different types of guests and people that you've seen before, you've talked to before, or you've heard before, and some new ones. But I got some big stuff coming this week. It's going to be fire. So keep the notifications on and stay plugged in. And of course, we'll be live here tomorrow, and tomorrow will be Thursday, and we'll fucking lay some smackdown. It'll be juicy. It'll be juicy juice. And probably we'll have another YouTube video, maybe an Ask Papa Swole tomorrow. So make sure that you plug in and keep your notifications, hit that bell so you know when the next video goes live. And I answered a bunch of questions on Instagram in the story. So a lot of you submitted questions. I answered a shit ton of them. I tried to get to as many DMs as possible yesterday. So for those of you that have sent messages and stuff like that, I appreciate it. So I appreciate your patience and for me trying to get to all of them because I had a lot to catch up on. They just pile up. So I do the best I can to get back to them as fast as I can. But thank you everyone for joining me for episode 1167 of the Most Muscular Swolecast, Beercast, Broadcast, Gamecast, Mancast, Pimpcast, Sleevescast, and Slaycast. In the realm, because when I flex, you flex. We all flex our biceps. Ooh, creaking and cracking. Oh, ooh, that felt good. Anyway, see you tomorrow for 1168. Peace, McGee's. Deuce, Magoose. Your boy, Papa Swole. Oh, out. Peace out, fam. Love ya.